Lots of shit to see this turn, and yep, I'm back. And just to prepare you, the next couple dozen turns or two dozen turns will chronologically the latest I've made commentary to, while the last turns ever were made in between, mostly because I changed recording software at the end of our game, and well, the new software allowed me to combine commentary live. So well, and this is old recordings I've made long before that happened. And well, basically I have only a flimsy idea of what happened in those ancient turns. Well, it looks like I'm still beating Mictlan up. Destroyed even an enemy temple, and it looks like I successfully executed my surprise attack on Mictlan's underwater zones, lands, countries, and there are some weird events. Well, let's look at the battles first. This is Blue Beauty, a giant stack of useless pylons, some trolls and some magic. And even though Mictlan has their own special underwater units, well, let's just say they don't have giant mountains of shark people hybrids to jank me around with, and no shrimp soldiers and anything. They're kind of limp-wristed compared to my magic attacks. Besides, even pale ones can deal with an enemy army that small. Looks I'm lucky here. Either Mictlan's player or AI Mictlan saw no reason to raise the province defense here, so I can just steamroll it. The question is, of course, now that I have gained a foothold underwater, will I be able to expand it? You'll see in the next turn. Anyway, I'm still kind of perplexed how even after leaving a large empty space in the middle, somehow my mass of pale ones succeeds in blocking off my water elementals from attacking, forming a giant wall of meat directly in front of them. The enemy mage casts School of Sharks, which means as long as the battle is running, randomly sharks will appear from the edges of the map and attack whoever is in their way. The spell makes it so they'll prefer to attack the enemy, but that's not always what happens, so it's always kind of risky. Of course, if you have tons of cheap units, you can just say fuck it and still summon it in the hope they eat something worthwhile. And besides, underwater magic is kind of shitty. So if you have been forced to fight underwater, then School of Sharks isn't that bad. It's still better as no magic at all. What works best underwater, in my opinion, is mostly simple stuff like spamming water elementals, which of course doesn't work so well if you imprison your water elementals behind a giant wall of shitty useless units. But at least in this case, some of the enemy's units are slowly wedged in with one of our water elementals and get wasted. Also, in case you're wondering why that water elemental had regenerating powers, that's what happens if you summon water elementals underwater. They get extra special powers like regeneration. Nice to know. So here we lost some chaff and conquered a province. Here likewise, and we lost some mammoths. Let's take a look. Ipriskia. One of my standard armies with a giant stack of mammoths in the middle. The enemy has the typical AI cloud of tons and tons of useless units, and not even in interesting combinations, just very stupid ones. There are also some mages and other crap, but nothing too dangerous. We have a giant mountain of mammoths to trample them, so we should be good, especially since I've brought some of my own mages, including some of my rare mages with 2 levels in death magic, so they can cast Horde of Skeletons, which in the future will slowly drain all my battlefields with giant hordes of undead. Bane Fire Darts are simpler but effective spell if you have nothing better to cast. So basically 1 path level in death, 1 in fire, and then you hawk up this green lump of, I don't know, stuff and throw it at the enemy, and if he gets hit, there's a chance that they'll decay, which is kind of nasty, like slowly dissolving, losing hit points until you're simply gone. Of course, trampling is still incredibly cool. Your enemy units are just disappearing forever after getting stomped. One thing interesting to note is the Mictlan's Jaguar warriors with their second shape still have a good chance of fucking up some mammoths simply by surviving the first trample attack. But they still have all those archers, and even though they tend to hit some of my units too, yeah, they can lay down some rivering fire simply because there are so goddamn many of them. And since they have wings, they can do a little hop to get into range if they are too far away. That's something normal archers can't do. In that case, crossbows are better because they have higher range. Also, crossbows, of course, can easier penetrate heavy armor, but well, if you don't have them, I guess wings to flap a bit and get closer to the enemy. A nice second prize. Well, so most of the losses were our Storm Guards. In a normal game, Storm Guards would be our elite and only rarely used. But in this crazy gimmick game where everyone has tons of money, I've started to massively recruit Storm Guards. Yeah, it's kind of fucked up that I'm using expensive units like Storm Guards as my throwaway chef. And we'll get only worse later on. But anyway, 2 victories this turn, and while yes, what I'm doing right now is recruiting some units here and there. And that guy I recruited first can be used as a scout since he is stealthy. So that's why I did this. Of course, now I can raise the defense a bit here. It's not like I need that much money anyway. So many mages. Scripting will be the never-ending nightmare of this game. And it looks like Mictlan has raised another giant army. Luckily though, Mictlan can't just raise all the mages they lost, since they don't have that many provinces anymore, and therefore not that many labs to recruit new mages. And their mages can't fly anyway. That said, of course, Mictlan by now is small enough, their mages don't need to fly, just that my crazy large empire can produce not only tons of mages if I need them, then I can make them hop across my empire in 2 to 3 turns, since they can fly, and this means they can always move about 3 provinces. It's what makes flying commanders and units great raiders, since you can just hop over enemy defense. But by now you should know this. And another large army gets moved closer to the front. Bogarus is still sieging down that other 4 over there. And it looks he is using a giant stack of cavalry, which, to be fair, in this crazy game isn't a bad idea. It's just, well, cavalry isn't really bad. I mean, you can do it. And it moves fast. That makes it even better idea. It's just kind of, well, you will see in future turns what I mean. 400 plus units. So what I do with my new underwater army. And I got this couple new sites here, a depth site and a water site, thanks to some site searching done by Mictlan before me. Well, I don't want to use this, so I'm making the province defense here insanely strong. 31 should reach, should be enough money, I mean. Now, what to do? Not sure my army can take Yomon's army, so instead I'm using my useless fake underwater army to annoy Mictlan a little bit more. Besides, I'm sure he doesn't have that many underwater units up there in what I think is Mictlan itself, the capital. So up here, we still have this problem. I'm growing more armies up in my capital, but it's hard to move them southward thanks to swamps and forests with really bad provinces. It's kind of annoying. At least I can still give my shamans those death things to make them research magic spells better. And, well, I guess I can use some death guys to raise more undead units, forge some more death stuff. Basic things, basically. And why the hell am I still recruiting mammoths? At this point, more and more magic gets thrown around, and it's a really bad idea, but apparently I still had those left over. I'm sure as hell hoping I'm not recruiting any more now. My plan for capital armies is basically just my Iron Hail archers with their obscene range, and with a bless from my pretender even higher range, combined with my storm guards to keep the enemy busy while my mages do their thing. And that's basically what I'm planning to do in the future. Mammoths, as impressive as they seem, are getting progressively more and more worthless now that combat magic becomes important. Also, as we're seeing, better keep the strategic picture in mind, I've started renaming my commanders, so I'm less confused as to which commander has what armies. This way I can see as long as I keep up the naming scheme I've came up with. I can see with one look which commander has what units. At least that's the idea. Anyway, it's probably not a good idea to keep all the armies down in the south. And even though there's a lot of shitty provinces, I'm still starting to build new temples and new fortresses because, well, even though I have more than 5,000 gold upkeep right now, recruiting thousands of gold pump thousands of gold into mages and new units each time, I'm still getting richer and richer because I'm basically not using enough gold. So I've decided to make as many forts and labs as possible, and temples of course, in an attempt to use up all this money I'm piling up. The best thing is, with every fort completed, I gain a new spot to recruit mages from. So I've started, for now I'm planning to fill up this stupid stretch in the middle of bad provinces where enemy dominion is slowly creeping in. The funny thing is, down in the south, it's starting to look rather rosy, mostly because Yeoman is nearly gone and Mictlan is going fast too. So the only thing left down there are my temples and my pretenders somewhere. I think at one point I moved in south in preparation for a final attack on Yeoman. I think I've even used him in the final assault on Yeoman itself, killing the enemy pretender, but that's too long ago, so I don't really remember. And I feel too lazy at this point to try to watch all those older episodes again. Just let's say it happened and move on. Anyway, there's a scout moving around. New things are getting built, new units are marching around, but strategically nothing really changes. I still try to eat Mictlan faster than Bogarus is. And there's a lot of Bogarus. My overall goal is now to get, well, of course also spying on Bogarus to see just how far this crazy empire of the west goes. But my overall strategic goal is still to get to Mictlan itself as fast as possible, because considering how strong Bogarus is compared to me, I just would feel safer if I have a third capital. After all, Bogarus already has Ulm at this point, and I think at least another cap somewhere. So if I have 3 caps, my own and 2 others, and he has 3 caps, his own and 2 others, then at least looks psychologically as if we are closer in strength than we really are, considering I have Sheep's Chaff and he has more and more vampires. That's kind of unfair, considering vampires can do a lot more than just fly. For one thing, they're immortal, so if they die in their own dominion, they just get revived at the cap. I think How Are You, the player of Garth, has told you in his Let's Play all about it already, but hey, just in case you're some poor bastard who isn't reading his thread on something awful and just watching my videos, I thought I should mention it. So, magic. Boy, looks I should do something about thaumaturgy. Apparently I didn't do much research here. Wither Bones is a nice spell for every definition. Mostly the trick is somehow summoning enough dead guys yourself to prevent yourself from being overrun, and then using some of your stronger death mages to use wither bones to essentially nuke large holes into the enemy undead formations. It's kind of tricky because if you're using the spell too much, then you don't have enough skeletons and other assorted undead crap to survive. But if you don't use it enough, you risk of slowly getting whittled down if the enemy has too many death mages. But still, it's nice to look at least, and Banefire is another really nasty spell. Tons of damage, armor piercing, while death magic combined with fire magic. And it comes with the added thing that it's useful for more than just hurting undead, or like some undead combat magic not hurting undead at all. It's just unholy death fire burning everything. Kind of neat actually. Just hard to use for our guys, since we are mostly death and air paths. But anyway, here and there I think I can squeeze in some fire ranks into my death mages, and I think some of my Harab elders, my expensive capital mages, have a small chance of getting fire, and if they have just one level in fire, then I can just give them a skull staff and then they can cast Banefires. That's an experimental army I will try to build in the future, using Banefire casters to destroy huge numbers of enemy units instead of just boringly summon tons of skeletons. I mean, skeleton spam works and is a valid tactic. It's just so boring if you do it over and over again. So it will be interesting to see if our Banefire trick works out. And now my pale ones and the mage support march forward to another Mictlan province, and oh, turn is already over. Well, see you next time guys. Liploini out.